You know when you get one of those days where you think, and you set your rods up, and you set your other rod up, and you do the engine, and you do everything, and you test it before you come, and you test it and test it and test it and test it, and you can see it on previous videos. I've been testing this, and then you get here. You gotta laugh. You have to laugh. Okay, so you get here, put it on to run. A few seconds. Make sure she's in neutral. To start. There we go. And you pull the lever, thinking, right. Oh, that was a backfire. There we go. And she starts beautifully. And then guess what happens? No water comes out the wee boy, which means you will blow your engine up if you go anywhere. So we ain't going anywhere. And we're going to go back in, and then that's it, get it off. Well, there you go, another disappointment. But still, we'll be doing a video on changing the impeller and finding out what's wrong with it. Alright, okie Mercury 9.9. I'm only showing you what it looks like, so just in case anybody else got the same model. Now, this has been to the coast with us 3 times now. We've took it off the trailer and put it back on again. The simple reason is it failed. One was fuel. I can't remember what the second one was. There was a fuel, but it wouldn't start. One was fuel. And the carb was, that's right, the first one was the carb was all messed up. Second one, number 2, was fuel. There was something in the fuel which is rubbish. And number 3 now, the impeller. Took it down Saturday. Was it Saturday? No, Monday morning. We went down Saturday. Monday, took it in, started first time beautifully, and then no wee boy. So no water coming out of the telltale pipe, which is that one there. Okay, just focus in that. Okay, that's what we're looking at. Right, so there's no water. So now I've got to drop this lower unit, which is the gearbox and that housing there. This is the gearbox housing, and this is the leg. This is the lower part of the leg, or whatever you want to call it. There is 3 bolts, I believe, holding this on. This is the different model. I'm not going to say I'm expert or anything, but I'm going to do it myself anyway, because I love doing it. So I've got 3 bolts, one that side. Okay, this is for anybody else want to attempt to do this. I'm not telling you to. And one at the back here. Okay, and that should drop the lower arm after you've undone this. Now, to do this, you're going to need 2 10mm spanners. And what I've done, if you can see, make sure I'm in focus. Come on, focus up. Come on. But where you can see what I've done, I've put a bit of tape around the bottom of this. This is a lock washer. Now this has got to come off as well, because this shaft has to drop through this hole. It's not going to fit with that nut on there. Not that I think anyway, but we'll give it a go. And then this is your gear shift lever. Okay, so that has got to come off totally. So we're going to 10mm under this, take this all the way up. That can stay on here, and then this will have to come off so this shaft fits through that hole. That's the first job. Okay, I'll put it on a tripod. You see that? Okay, so I'm just going to crack it. That was easy. So what we're going to do now is wind this all the way up, and it should separate the shafts, I think. There we go. So I'm leaving that nut, well, I'm leaving the tape on so I know where the nut is, because this is your gear shaft, like I've said before, and you need it pretty accurate, pretty good. Okay, so next is 1/2 inch, and start undoing these. Oh, that was easy. I tried a 13mm and it was a bit sloppy, and I don't like that. I like to have a good fitting spanner. So we got one there, that's the one at the back. Bear with me, and if I can zoom you out. And we've got another one here. I'll use the open end, that might be a little bit easier. There we go. These are really, I think this has been done recently, you know. Now remember, I've had this engine now 4 years and I've used it three times, and it's never even ran yet. It runs, but I've never had it on the water. So we'll flip the engine over if I can. Pull that engine up, be careful I don't hit the camera. And we have another one around that side. You got him? There. Should have got the big hand in the way. There we go. Right. So that's been a tisbot. It must have been off before. Anyway, so the next job is now bring it back round. So this is the lock-in nut, which I'm going to take off, and you can see where the tape is, and that's what I'll do. And then we'll go back together like that. That'd be quite easy. All right. And drop this stainless steel up there. Look, there we go. Right, so what I'll do now, I'll carry on undoing these, and when it gets time to drop the whole thing. Now, I remember someone once asked me inside here, not inside this part, but up here, the housing up here. They said, what do you do with all the oil? There is no oil in this, it's hollow. Okay, this is just where the shafts, you'll see when I take it off, there'll be a shaft going up. One for the gear change, and there'll be another one, and one for the impeller. There should be two. One will be a pipe, which will be like a steel pipe going into the impeller, and the other one should be the drive shaft. Okay. Now all engines are different. Like I said, I am no expert. I am just doing it because the way it is at the moment, the way prices are going, and the way the cost of living is going, do it your bloody self. If you can do it, have a go. Right, so I'll get these undone. Come back to you in a bit. One. Number two, that's from that side and this side. Okay, and I think that's, I'm going to have to drop that first because it's hitting that. That's a longer nut as well. Okay, so I might have to drop the housing slightly. I'll take you back. I've got cardboard on the floor as well. Ooh, that came out pretty quick. And there we go. So here we're looking at, this is your drive shaft. Oh, sorry. So this is your impeller housing. This is your gear change. This is your drive shaft. And this is a tube that I will show you now. I'm going to drop that. Alright. Let's have a look up inside. So you'll see the hole just at the bottom here. That's for your gear change going through. And then you'll see a hole at the top. That one there. See behind that, not this tube here. That's your water. And the one at the top is where your drive shaft spindle fits in, which will grease that. There's no grease on that. Okay, so we'll take this all apart now and have a look why it wasn't pumping water. Okay, there's a lot of gunk around here. That was stopping the from separating from the main part, so we'll see. Right, so you've got 5 bolts holding this down. I'm going to undo the first top one. By the way, I found a piece of rubber mat. Don't have it lying around. Always good to put it in a vise in the fin just to hold it. Okay, and I've had, yeah, so I could use a ratchet, but I'm in no rush. I enjoy doing this. So, right, so undo all 4. When I come to put it back together, I'll show you anyway before we do that. So these are quite reasonable, not over tight. That's good. The last thing you want to do is get one where you're doing it and then the whole thing just doesn't come apart, or you shear a bolt off. That's a nightmare then, so you might want to WD it, but it looks like this has been apart recently. Okay, I'll crack on with these, come back to you in a sec. Oh, I found a socket. 1, 2, yeah, they've been greased up and everything. See that? Oh, sorry. Keep them clean. all the same size, by the way. Right, here we go. So it'll come off without doing anything else. That's weird. It's fine. There's nothing. It looks like a brand new. Looks like a brand new impeller. Now the only other thing I can think of is the key. There's a key here. Here we go. See the key? Now that little key fits in there, and then the impeller fits on top of that. Now whether that's I don't know. It should be fine. Right, let's take it out and have a look. It looks in good nick actually. There's a little washer underneath there. It's clean. You can see right down there. Well, you can't. There you go. Can you see that? Anyway, right. Why has that stopped working? Now if you can see, there's a little bit of see the damage. So I reckon this has just been spinning on nothing. So look, so I'm going to put it back on the shaft, line it up with the let's hold the shaft. I don't know, but it does move a lot. Look at that. That moves that's a lot of movement. So if I take that off, leave that key in place. I'm going to turn this upside down. Put the key, you've got to get the key in the right place. So there's a lot of play in that. And whether that was spinning around, I don't know. Right, okay, I need to look into this a bit more. I've got a funny feeling that key is worn, look. Can you see the groove? That should be flat. And it should be flat against that. And I think it's actually spinning on the shaft. And that's what's caused it, because that is a really sloppy key. I need to go and have a look at that one. So this is not supposed to look like that. That is supposed to be perfectly flat and with a bit more meat on it, okay? So I've just found one on eBay. I've ordered it, so as soon as it comes we'll reassemble and we'll have a look what it should look like, okay? So that's worn down quite bad and that's been spinning on the shaft. There you go, if I can just... Alright, okay. Looks like it's worn down quite considerably, look. Hopefully the new one comes, it should fit beautifully. eBay, and I'll put a link in the description down below. This one's quite badly worn. That's the new one. Anyway, you get the picture. Get the picture! That's not very good. So, that's better. I clean the lens. Okay. So there you go, you can see the worn one. So we've got that, but the impeller they sent is the wrong one. So what I did is just took it down the house, took a photograph. I get a full refund, so I'm not bothered. So what you need to take the old one. I can't remember if I did or not, but that's what I was looking for. I found one now, so that's ordered. There we go. This is, it looks okay, but it's not. If you look at the oval pit where the key, this little key fits, it's so badly worn. It's just rocking on the spline. Okay, new impeller has turned up and it looks like the right one as opposed to the old one. Let me just grab that and that one. That was pretty good to me. Okay, so that's come, and also we've got 2 sets of gaskets, so I'm only using the one. Okay, so we're going to fit that onto this place, so it needs a bit of a clean. So I'll get to that now. I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, so nice and clean. Now, fitted it, putting the gasket on there. Okay, it can only go one way round, and that is like that, because these 2 pins here line up. Okay, and then same with your, and which way you took it off, and then your plate goes on the same way. I'll show you that. There we go. And 2 pins are on there like that as well. Next is one of the washers, and then you're going to see this. This is the new pin lock, or I'm going to call it impeller lock, or pin, whatever you want to call it. That's on next. Alright, and then the impeller. Just going to put a tiny little bit of marine white grease on. Now someone might say you're not supposed to, I don't know, I'm just guessing this. Just to keep the pin into place. And then also I'm going to do the whole shaft afterwards. Put some white grease on this, especially the top where it goes into the gearbox. Next is the impeller. That's a good fit. That's a really good fit on that shaft. That's a big difference. Oh, look at that. That's perfect. That's not going anywhere. And then followed by, let me have a look for that one. Oh, there we go. Another washer. That goes on top. And there, like so. And then we're going to put the housing on. Okay, so there we go. Just come out a little bit. So I've now cleaned that up. That's all nice and clean. This can only go on one way round. So over the top, line it up, and then we've got to just put the impellers in. And I think if I turn that way, it might just, you want to squeeze them in a little bit. This is a tricky bit. Yep, this is the tricky bit. Now, hold on one sec. Okay, I was experimenting and it went straight on. So what I did was just use a screwdriver and just gently bent the fins slightly round till I got to this side, and then just gently ease the fins in, just gently. It just popped down. I'm not going to take it off again, but I think you'll get the message. It's quite straightforward, and it's in. And then also, if you turn the shaft just slightly, that'll put them in the right order. Oops, or the other way. There we go. So we should be fine with that. All right, let's put the screws and the bolts back in. And just to recap, the housing, it'll only go on one way anyway, so you can't go wrong with that. I'm just going to pinch it down each corner opposites. That's all I'm going to do, okay? Okay, then I'm just going to pinch them down with this. There probably is a torque setting in your manual. This is an old engine. I do not have a manual for it. You probably could look online. I'm just going to guess this and just nip it up to what I think is a few pounds. And go to each one individually and just sort of, not because you're going to snap it. It's only plastic, remember, so you don't need much. And then just sort of nip it up. I'm not even using that, look at that, see, just enough, just to bring it back down. Sits nice and square. That's it. That'll do. That'll do. That'll do. That's it. Time to remount it back in the engine. Okay, so this is the pipe you've got to line up with the water pipe. The drive shaft's got to go right up the top, and then the gearbox on goes through that little hole there. I don't know if I can show you this. I'll do the best I can. Let's see if I can line you up. It's not the best view. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Okay, I'm going to have to use a torch, and I'm struggling a bit to get this in, using the camera as well because it's in the way. So if you can see that, so this tube here, well, I think I've showed before, that's the water. Then we've got to line the gearbox up, and I can't do it with the camera in the way, and that's for the gear change. So I put a head torch on, which is the best way of doing it. You can see that, and then let's crack on. I'll show you when. I'll probably leave the camera. I'm going to use the engine. I need to support this. Oh. Whew. Okay, right. So you're better off get it at a eye height so you can see down it. Line up your gear shaft, not your gear shaft, your main drive shaft into the locating pin at the bottom of the engine, and it gives you enough room then to line up your water, which is plenty of room. There's a little tube on top, need a little bit of playing around, and then you line up your gear to come through the hole. That'll be like that. And then the best thing to do when you get it somewhere near, turn the prop around so that it'll engage the gear, or it'll engage the drive. What am I looking at? The drive shaft spline will then just locate in the top of the engine. It should just pop in. So there we go. So let's put the screws back in, and we should be somewhere near. So lock your wash back on. We've got a bit of space. Remember, I took it down to the tape, and that's where the gear linkage, so it'll just stop automatically, gently. There we go. Now we'll tighten up the engine bolts. I won't bore you, I'll just show you that I'm doing that one first, and then we've got the other two to put in. So we have one here. A little bit tricky to do the line the shaft up, but once you're in there, it's good to go. There we go. A little bit of minor adjustment. There we go. I'm on the other side. Okay, all tightened up. Now for this one, you see that? Just two 10mm spanners, the same as what we used before to undo it. Why am I telling you that? I do not know. Two 10mm anyway. And then push one against the other, and it should just lock. And there we go. That should be it. I'll take the tape off in a bit. And that should be my gear change. And one way to test it is to put it in neutral, and that should spin. There we go. And then reverse, that's locked. And then forward, that's locked as well. So there we go. Maybe is that just catching by the look of it? Maybe a slight adjustment. Let's have a look. Ooh, not too much. I'm going to adjust that down a little bit, I think. Hold on, let me just move I'm going to move the engine around, that might make a difference. So, neutral. No, sorry, neutral. That's it. gear, you've got to remember exactly where you want them. I knew I wasn't in gear when I did it. I was just going to sit there, quite easy. Yeah, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and a like. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and a like. That would be great. Helps the channel a lot. And we'll catch you in the next one. All the best.